This was the week where Chicago teacher. Okay, starting again. This is the week where the Chicago Teachers Union once again flexed some power. As in the face of a COVID surge in cases and a lack of safety measures in the school district, they voted to move to remote learning. They're currently asking for universal testing for students, which they do not have right now, or weeks allowing them for them to transition to remote learning once again. However, the school district of Chicago has responded by canceling their classes, and Mayor Lori Lightfoot apparently has locked teachers out of their own virtual classrooms, so they are not able to go to remote teaching. Lori Lightfoot says, quote, what the teachers union did was an illegal walkout. They abandoned their posts and they abandoned kids and families. She said on Meet the Press, we are working diligently every single day at the bargaining table to narrow the differences and get a deal done. Okay. The teachers, however, are disputing issues, including testing and metrics to close schools. They want the option to revert to district-wide remote instruction, and they're refusing to teach in person until there's an agreement. This was as of Sunday, so I'm sure this is going to develop quickly. The district apparently says that, oh no, they've got new ventilation systems on the way. They have some money invested. Like basically, it's coming. Don't worry, it's coming. But here's what one parent is saying about that money that is coming into the school district and whether or not teachers and students are seeing that money.
It's back. What would make you feel comfortable?
I would feel better if they would just do more testing. I don't know why. We're the third largest school district in the country. LA is the second largest district, and they are doing weekly testing. CPS was given $2 billion in COVID funds. We as parents want to know, where's that money at? Because the testing has been selective. Like, everybody should be universally tested, the teachers, the students, on a weekly basis, to track what's going on with COVID.
So that was one parent of a Chicago student. Before I get NATO you to weigh in, I just want to clarify. There's about a 12% vaccination rate for students under 11 in Chicago. High schools are between 10% and 83%. The average at majority Black high schools in Chicago are about 28% vaccinated. And once again, Chicago is one of those cities that's seeing this rise in COVID cases and in hospitalizations and, yes, in deaths. And we'll see what the next couple of weeks hold. But, like, what is this like? Everyone's sort of like, it's the teacher's fault. It's not the teacher's fault. We should go back to school. We shouldn't go back to school. We're back in the thick of it, NATO. And it doesn't feel like there's a lot of leadership, at least coming, definitely not from the Biden administration.
Yeah, I mean, well, and we're seeing it at every level. And I mean, I think there's a couple of things happening. And, you know, my kids are in 8th grade. I have twins in 8th grade in San Francisco public schools. And it's a shit show in San Francisco also. And here's the thing that people don't understand in this debate. And it's pretty nuanced. And so stay with me, Francesca. That everyone is fucking sick. That's the problem. So, like,
wait, say that again, because the internet gods tried to censor you.
Everyone is fucking sick right now. Like, that's the issue, is that, like, with, you know, that they're talking about the COVID case numbers are on a vertical incline, as they're spiking, and the protocol is, it's 5 days or days of isolation or whatever. Like, the protocol is, if you test positive, stay home. And so, like, it's not just that, like, people want to be tested just to be tested, or HEPA filters or whatever. There was, like, we saw this coming. People were raising concerns in the public schools across the country, saying, like, what is the plan to try to, you know, how are we going to provide distance learning options for people who are testing positive but are asymptomatic, so that they don't come to school and infect everybody else, and for teachers who are testing positive, what's the plan for that? How are we going to absorb that? How are we going to test people who are returning from travel before we send them back into the classroom? And the district, like, didn't have a plan for that. And it's not just like, it's not a sick out particularly, it's that people are fucking sick. They're literally sick. And then they're staying home, and then the system is crumbling. The other thing that's happening is that, like, as always, there's these fucking opportunists are exploiting this moment, because overwhelmingly it's teachers unions that drive strikes in the United States. Like
Mhm.
if you look at the numbers of strikes over the last 3 or 4 years, overwhelmingly it's been in schools. And so like I just feel like there's the sort of neo consistency to teachers unions as the kind of like vanguard of popular resistance.
Yeah.
And that has nothing to do with like what the issue is about.
Yeah, I mean, and especially because, like, even last year, which everyone was like saying the year of the worker, Striketober, we weren't even talking about teachers. Like teachers weren't even flexing their muscle to the full extent last year. But we may see that. So you're totally right that like they're trying. Folks like Lori Lightfoot, other officials are like, we need to make sure to stave this off. But at the same time, wouldn't you think in order to stave it off, you just give them what they want? Like, don't lock them out of their goddamn schools. You're afraid of them going on strike, like a real strike. This ain't a strike. This is a complaint. This is a vote. This is a we can do better. It
Right.
is not a strike yet.
Yeah, I mean, and like we're seeing it. Yeah, it's just that the guidance is shifting. Like about there's the CDC has a set of standards, and the state Department of Public Health has standards, and then local Department of Public Health has standards, and then there's like a disconnect between the local government and the school district. And this and the
Right.
school district is not nimble, let's say, as an institution, uh, and but then like a lot of it is these school boards, God bless them, but they're all volunteers. So like
Yeah.
the elected governing body are these like random ass volunteers who sit in hearings for 5 hours at a time and then go home, and on some level don't have really that much control over like the bureaucrats who really run the district.
And yet somehow in school boards and districts across the country, like parents are more incensed about critical race theory or what they imagine to be than COVID. Like, look, I think no one should be a busybody, and like, oftentimes we have liberal Karens too, but like go to your school board and complain. I think that's a perfectly legitimate thing to do. Like I think that's good, especially when all the bad parents are the ones complaining. Anyway, we will obviously continue to watch this. Meanwhile, my brother, who teaches at a public school, it's like all the windows are open, the filter's on, everyone's got their jackets, and it's just like, like trying to learn, geometry in the cold.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I was like, actually this week I was in New York and I was talking to a friend of mine who is 15, and yeah, and has to eat lunch at 8:30 in the morning because they're cycling students through the cafeteria because there's no outdoor place for them to eat lunch, and so
Yeah.
they have to do social distancing.
Oh my
So they
God.
have people have lunch at ridiculous times because they have no other way to like. It's all
Oh
bad.
my God. What's going on, Frantifa? If you haven't already, subscribe to this channel right now. Hit that button. And also, you can become a patron and support the show every single week. Get access to bonus episodes and exclusive merchandise. Patreon.com/Bitchuation Room. Do it.